There are signs in the body that mirror the movements of the mind. When salt leaves the body through urine, it is not a punishment, it is a cleansing. What is excessive is released. What is unnecessary is carried away without argument, without struggle, without noise. The body does not wage war against salt. It does not shout at it. It simply filters, balances, and lets go. In the same way, the wise person learns to release enemies quietly. You ask, how can I destroy my enemies without a fight? First, understand who the real enemies are. Anger is an enemy. Pride is an enemy. The desire to prove yourself is an enemy. These dwell not outside you but within. If you conquer the world but not your anger, you remain defeated. If you silence 1,000 critics but cannot silence your ego, you are still at war. Salt in the urine is the body's reminder. What is excessive must leave. When someone insults you, the ordinary mind gathers the insult like salt accumulating in water. It becomes heavy. It becomes bitter. Soon the heart burns. Words are prepared like weapons. Revenge grows like a storm cloud. But the awakened mind does not hold the salt. It allows it to pass through. The insult enters, is understood, and then released. The one who insulted you expects resistance. They expect your anger. They are prepared for battle. When you do not fight, their weapon falls to the ground. When you do not react, their fire finds no fuel. When you remain calm, they stand alone with their own noise echoing back to them. This is how enemies are destroyed quietly, not by arming them, not by humiliating them, but by refusing to participate in their darkness. Consider the ocean. Rivers carry salt into it constantly, yet the ocean does not overflow with bitterness. It absorbs, transforms, and remains vast. Be like the ocean. Let small minds pour their salt into you. Remain vast. To destroy an enemy without a fight is to deny them the conflict they seek. Conflict is their nourishment. Drama is their pleasure. When you step out of the struggle, you remove their power. You become untouchable not because you are stronger in force, but because you are stronger in peace. There is another meaning hidden in this teaching. When the body has too much salt, it becomes imbalanced. Pressure rises. Likewise, when the mind holds too many grudges, pressure rises within the heart. Sleep becomes restless. Joy disappears. You think you are punishing your enemy, but you are drinking poison yourself. Release is wisdom. When you wake each morning, ask yourself, what salt am I holding? Is it resentment from yesterday? Is it jealousy toward another's success? Is it the memory of harsh words? Observe it gently. Do not judge yourself. Just see it clearly. Awareness is the filter of the mind. Through awareness, bitterness is purified. Your enemy may wish to see you angry. Instead, show them discipline. Your enemy may wish to see you fall. Steady progress. Your enemy may wish to hear you complain. Instead, remain silent and improve yourself. Nothing confuses hatred more than peace. When you grow in patience, those who wished for your reaction become powerless. When you succeed quietly, those who try to obstruct you feel the weight of their own intentions. When you forgive, those who plotted against you must face their own conscience. The greatest victory is not over another person. It is over your own impulses. Imagine two fires facing each other. If both burn fiercely, the forest is destroyed. But if one fire refuses to spread, it dies. When someone brings you anger and you do not respond with anger, the chain breaks. When someone brings you gossip and you do not repeat it, the chain breaks. When someone brings you hostility and you offer calmness, the chain breaks. Breaking the chain is silent destruction of conflict. Do not misunderstand. Peace is not weakness. Releasing salt is not surrender. It is intelligent balance. The body does not keep what harms it. The wise person does not keep what disturbs the heart. There are times when action is needed, but action does not require hatred. There are times when boundaries must be set, but boundaries do not require violence. You can walk away without bitterness. You can say no without anger. You can protect yourself without revenge. The person who masters this art walks lightly in the world. People may attempt to provoke them, but they find no entrance. They may attempt to compete, but they find no rivalry. They may attempt to insult, but they find no reaction. Eventually, enemies grow tired. Some may even transform. Because when they see that their negativity cannot move you, they begin to question themselves. Your calm becomes a mirror. In that mirror, they see their own unrest. This is the quietest victory. So when you hear the phrase, salt in your urine, destroy your enemies quietly, remember its deeper truth. Cleanse yourself daily. Release excess emotion. Filter your reactions. Maintain balance. Do not store bitterness in the chambers of your heart. Let it pass. The one who lets go lives freely. The one who clings lives in chains. Destroy your enemies not by crushing them, but by removing the enemy within. Destroy hostility by refusing to carry it. Destroy hatred by not returning it. Destroy conflict by stepping beyond it. Be like the body that knows how to cleanse itself. Be like water that carries salt away. Be like the vast sky that is untouched by passing storms. When you master this, no one can truly harm you. And the greatest battle will already be won without a single fight. The real enemy is within. Anger, ego, jealousy, and resentment are the true enemies. Outer conflicts are only reflections of inner imbalance. Mastering your inner reactions is the first and greatest victory. Most people believe their enemies live outside them. They imagine an opponent with a face, a voice, a name. They think of someone who insulted them, betrayed them, competed with them, or tried to block their path. Yet the deeper truth is quieter and more uncomfortable. The real enemies lie within. Anger rises faster than any external attack. Ego demands recognition even when none is owed. Jealousy burns at another person's success. Resentment replays old wounds long after the moment has passed. These forces do more damage than any rival ever could. When someone speaks harshly to you, the words last only seconds. But anger can live in you for years if you allow it. That anger shapes your thoughts, hardens your voice, and changes your decisions. You may believe you are protecting yourself, but in reality you are feeding an inner fire. The outer enemy may sleep peacefully, unaware of the storm inside you. In this way, you become both the battlefield and the wounded soldier. Ego is another hidden enemy. It whispers that you must win every argument, prove every point, and defend every slight. It convinces you that silence is weakness and forgiveness is defeat. But look closely. How many conflicts have truly improved your life? How many arguments have brought lasting peace? Often, the need to be right costs more than being wrong ever would. Ego demands applause, yet it leaves the heart restless. Jealousy, too, poisons quietly. When others rise, jealousy compares. When others shine, jealousy feels diminished. Instead of celebrating growth, it creates silent competition. But another person's light does not reduce yours. The sky does not lose stars when one shines brightly. The mind that understands this becomes free from comparison. Resentment may be the heaviest enemy of all. It stores old pain like a collector of grievances, replays conversations, imagines better responses, and fuels bitterness. Yet every replay strengthens the chain. The past cannot be changed by rehearsing it. It can only be released. To conquer these enemies does not require force. It requires awareness. When anger appears, observe it without acting on it. When ego demands attention, question it gently. When jealousy arises, transform it into inspiration. When resentment returns, breathe and let it dissolve. Mastery over others is temporary. Mastery over yourself is lasting. When you control your inner world, no outer enemy can truly disturb your peace. The person who defeats anger, ego, jealousy, and resentment has already won the greatest battle. And this victory requires no audience, no applause, and no fight. Release bitterness like the body releases salt, just as the body removes excess salt to maintain balance. The mind must release grudges and negative emotions. Holding on to resentment only harms you, not your enemy. The idea of releasing bitterness is simple, yet most people struggle with it. Just as the body filters and removes excess salt to maintain balance, the mind must also let go of emotional excess. When you hold on to grudges, replay old arguments, or nurture resentment, you are carrying weight that serves no purpose. The person who hurt you may have moved on, forgotten the moment, or never considered it deeply. Meanwhile, you continue to carry the burden. This is how inner suffering grows. Bitterness is like salt that remains inside water. If too much salt stays, the water becomes undrinkable. It loses its purity and usefulness. In the same way, when negative emotions remain in the mind, clarity disappears. Decisions become clouded. Relationships suffer. Sleep becomes restless. You may think you are punishing the person who wronged you, but the greater punishment is what you do to yourself. Releasing bitterness does not mean forgetting lessons. It does not mean allowing harmful behavior to continue. Boundaries are necessary. Wisdom requires recognizing when to walk away and when to speak up. But boundaries are different from hatred. You can protect yourself without carrying resentment. You can say no without anger. You can choose distance without wishing harm. Letting go is an act of strength. Many believe forgiveness is weakness, but it requires discipline. It is easier to remain angry. It is easier to replay the story of what happened and justify your pain. However, ease is not growth. Strength is choosing peace when conflict is available. Strength is refusing to let past events control your present life. Consider how the body functions. It does not argue with salt. It simply filters what is excessive and keeps what is necessary. The process is natural. There is no emotional struggle inside the body. The mind can learn from this. When negative thoughts arise, observe them. Do not fight them. Do not amplify them. Recognize their presence and allow them to pass. Time also plays a role. Emotional wounds feel sharp in the beginning, but they soften if you do not reopen them. Every time you revisit the pain, you refresh it. Every time you tell the story with anger, you strengthen its hold. Healing comes when you stop feeding the memory. The event remains in the past, but it no longer controls your present. To release bitterness is to reclaim freedom. You free yourself from the cycle of revenge and emotional dependence on the actions of others. You become responsible for your peace. This does not excuse wrongdoing, but it prevents wrongdoing from defining you. Like the body that removes excess salt, the mind that releases bitterness becomes lighter. It becomes clearer. It becomes capable of growth. The past loses its power, and the present becomes an opportunity. In this way, letting G non-reaction is silent power. When you refuse to react to insults or provocation, you deny your enemy the conflict they seek. Calmness weakens hostility more effectively than confrontation. Conflict often feels unavoidable. People disagree, compete, and sometimes hurt one another. The natural reaction is to defend yourself, to strike back, or to prove that you are right. Yet history shows that most battles, whether physical or verbal, do not lead to lasting victory. They create division. They generate new grievances. They repeat cycles of hostility. This is why the wise person learns to step outside the struggle. Imagine two fires facing each other. If both continue to burn, the forest is destroyed, but if one fire stops spreading, the conflict ends. There is no victory in consuming everything. There is only peace when the burning stops. Human arguments work the same way. When one person refuses to escalate, the chain of hostility breaks. The other person may continue to argue, but without fuel, the conflict loses momentum. Non-reaction is often misunderstood. People assume silence means weakness or surrender. In reality, it requires discipline. Reacting emotionally is easy. Anger comes quickly. Words are spoken before thought. Actions follow impulse. Later, regret appears. Non-reaction demands patience. It demands awareness. It asks you to observe your feelings without being controlled by them. This is far more challenging than fighting back. Consider how storms pass. A storm may rage with thunder and heavy rain, but it eventually ends. The land remains. The storm does not destroy the world, it only passes through it. Emotional storms work the same way. Anger, disappointment, and frustration will arise. They are temporary. If you identify with them, you suffer. If you observe them, they pass. This perspective changes how you view enemies. A person who opposes you is not necessarily your eternal foe. They may be acting from misunderstanding, insecurity, or their own pain. This does not excuse harmful behavior, but it helps you respond wisely. You can set boundaries without hatred. You can disagree without dehumanizing the other person. You can protect yourself without seeking revenge. Victory through non-reaction is quiet, does not require applause. No one announces it on a stage. The world may not notice. But inner peace is real victory. When you refuse to carry bitterness, you remain free. When you choose calmness, you maintain control over your decisions. When you step away from unnecessary conflict, you preserve energy for growth. This does not mean avoiding all challenges. Life requires effort. Hard work and discipline are essential. But effort is different from hostility. You can strive for success without viewing others as enemies. You can improve yourself without tearing others down. You can compete with excellence while respecting those around you. The person who masters this approach becomes strong in a deeper way. They are not easily disturbed by criticism. They do not chase every argument. They understand that peace is more valuable than proving a point. Such a person moves through life with clarity. They respond when necessary and remain silent when it is wise. Their strength is not loud, but it is real. And in that quiet strength there is lasting freedom. Peace breaks the chain of conflict. Responding to anger with anger fuels destruction. Responding with calmness ends the cycle. Breaking this chain quietly dissolves opposition without a fight. True strength is often misunderstood. Many believe strength means domination, loud arguments, or the ability to defeat opponents. Yet history and wisdom show a different truth. The strongest individuals are those who control themselves. They do not react to every insult. They do not chase revenge. They do not allow emotions to dictate their decisions. Instead, they respond with discipline and clarity. When someone harms you, the immediate impulse may be to retaliate. This reaction feels natural. It gives the illusion of justice. However, retaliation rarely brings peace. It creates a cycle where one action leads to another. Hurt becomes more hurt. Anger multiplies. The original problem grows larger. In the end, both sides suffer. The wise person understands that breaking this cycle requires restraint. Consider the nature of power. Physical force can impose temporary results, but it cannot change hearts. Words spoken in anger may silence opposition, yet they rarely convince. True influence comes from example. When you respond with calmness, you demonstrate control. When you choose fairness, you inspire respect. When you refuse to descend into hostility, you preserve your dignity. These qualities have lasting impact. Self-mastery is the foundation of this strength. It requires awareness of your inner world. Thoughts and emotions arise constantly. Some are helpful, others are not. Anger may appear, but you are not obligated to act on it. Jealousy may surface, but you can choose to let it go. Pride may demand recognition, but humility often serves better. The person who observes their emotions without being ruled by them gains freedom. This does not mean ignoring wrongdoing. Justice matters. Boundaries matter. Protecting yourself and others is necessary. However, justice is different from vengeance. Boundaries are different from hatred. You can hold people accountable without wishing harm. You can speak the truth without demeaning others. You can defend what is right without becoming what you oppose. The world often rewards loudness and immediate reaction, but wisdom values patience. Trees grow slowly, yet they become strong. Rivers carve mountains over time. Progress rarely happens in an instant. Similarly, personal growth requires consistent effort. Each time you choose calmness over anger, you strengthen your character. Each time you release resentment, you lighten your heart. These choices accumulate. Enemies in the deepest sense are not always external. They can be internal tendencies, impulses that lead to suffering. Ego demands constant validation. Anger seeks immediate release. Jealousy compares and diminishes. These forces create conflict. Mastering them is more challenging than confronting others, but it yields greater peace. A person who achieves self-mastery becomes difficult to manipulate. They are not swayed by provocation. They do not chase approval. They act according to principle rather than impulse. Such individuals contribute positively to the world. They solve problems instead of escalating them. They build relationships instead of destroying them. This is the quiet power of strength. It does not need recognition, does not rely on force. It is reflected in choices small, consistent, and meaningful. By mastering yourself, you become capable of facing life's challenges with dignity. And in that mastery, you discover a deeper form of victory, peace that cannot be taken away. Self-mastery is the greatest victory. True strength is not defeating others, but controlling your impulses. Discipline, silence, and steady growth silently overpower negativity and leave enemies powerless. The idea of destroying enemies quietly without a fight may sound strange, but it contains a deeper truth. Most conflicts are not won through force. They are resolved through understanding, discipline, and the ability to rise above emotional reactions. When you engage in constant battles, whether verbal, social, or emotional, you give energy to the very conflict you wish to escape. The wise person recognizes that peace is more powerful than retaliation. Consider how nature operates. The river does not fight the rock. It flows around it. Over time, the rock is shaped by the river's steady movement. This process requires patience. It does not happen overnight, but the result is transformation. The rock does not disappear in violence. It changes gradually. Human relationships and conflicts often follow a similar pattern. Force may create temporary submission, but understanding and consistency create lasting change. To destroy an enemy quietly does not mean harming them. It means removing the conditions that allow conflict to grow. If someone seeks to provoke you and you refuse to react, their power diminishes. If they expect anger and receive calmness, their strategy fails. This does not guarantee immediate resolution, but it breaks the cycle of hostility. Conflict requires two participants. When one refuses to engage, the battle ends. This principle applies to internal struggles as well. Many people carry emotional enemies, resentment, jealousy, and pride. These feelings can control decisions and distort perceptions. When you react impulsively, you strengthen them. When you observe them without acting, they weaken. Awareness is the first step toward freedom. You cannot eliminate emotions, but you can choose how to respond. Silence is often misunderstood. People assume silence means agreement or weakness. In reality, silence can be a powerful response. It allows space for reflection. It prevents unnecessary escalation. It communicates that you will not participate in harmful exchanges. A calm and measured response carries more weight than words spoken in anger. This does not mean avoiding all challenges. Life requires courage and action. There are times when boundaries must be set and truth must be spoken. However, action is different from aggression. Boundaries protect dignity, they do not seek revenge. Truth clarifies situations, it does not humiliate. The goal is resolution, not domination. The person who masters this approach becomes resilient. They are not easily disturbed by criticism or provocation. They understand that external opinions do not define their worth. They focus on personal growth and constructive action. Such individuals are difficult to manipulate because they do not react impulsively. Their strength lies in self-control. Quiet destruction of conflict is actually creation of peace. When hostility is removed, space remains for cooperation and understanding. Relationships can heal, progress becomes possible. This requires patience and humility, but the rewards are lasting. The greatest victories are not those celebrated with noise. They are the victories of character, moments when you choose wisdom over anger and peace over battle. In that choice, you become stronger than any enemy.